at the stage. I'm going to close my door. All right, folks, we're going to give it a few more seconds or so, maybe 15 or so. 15 or so to give us a chance to let people into the room and live stream, and then also to let our internal host, William, get himself situated. And then we are going to dive in. This is an amazing day here in the Pacific Northwest in Snohomish County. And we're going to get started right now. Good morning, folks. I am excited. This is Coffee Chats with Economic Alliance Snohomish County, and this is Women in Business, Mentorship, Networking, and Resource Opportunities. Please, as you join us, put your name in the chat. Tell us what organization you're with. We have an amazing group of panelists today, and I am excited to get the ball rolling here. First things first, some housekeeping for you all. Again, keep yourselves muted as you join. Additionally, this coffee chat, which is on Zoom and will be added to our YouTube page, is also live streaming right now on the Snohomish County, which is Economic Alliance Snohomish County Facebook page. So if you want to share it out, you can do that right now. Additionally, we are going to have 4 different presentations, just very brief presentations from our amazing panelists. And without further ado, you all know me as Gary Clark, President and CEO of Economic Alliance Snohomish County. If you don't have a coffee cup, you'll want it at the end of this. And I am going to announce our special guest here today, as we had just a slight change. But we do have in the room number one. Still hearing some voices. If everyone could please be muted, we'll get into our guest introductions. All right, first and foremost, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming to the room Mrs. Nancy Keith, who is actually the manager of the Snohomish Chamber of Commerce. Nancy is also the leader of the Snohomish Networking Women's Group. And so, Nancy, thank you for joining us today. All right, and we also have the amazing Susan Perreault, who is actually a part of the Business Impact Northwest Washington Women's Business Center. And Susan, why don't you tell us what your title is as well?
I'm Vice President of Programs.
Vice President of Programs.
Yes.
And we also have the outstanding and fantabulous Mars Powers. And Mars Powers is one of the leading partners and business development leaders for AVODAH Business Collective and ambassador. And she also leads in that space with the Business Ladies Society, LLC. And so, Mars, thank you. And do you have a quick note to say to everyone?
I'm just excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been wonderful to be able to represent women, especially as a mom of 2 daughters that are up and coming. So this is wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, outstanding. And last but not least, we have the amazing interior decorator and entrepreneur, and Jessica Chavez, who is actually part of Business Ladies of Society, LLC. Jessica, thank you for joining us. I wish you didn't blur your background because I know it's an amazing background.
Okay, well, I will take it off.
Yeah, let's give that full empowerment there. I think it looks awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. Just thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to talk to you today. It's a real pleasure and honor.
All right, and now we'd like to just make sure that you all know just a little bit about what we're going to talk about today as you're joining us. We really want to dive into the specific focus of women and business, and not specifically tied to just that, but the whole holistic connection between women and our society and how we grow and sustain ourselves as people in Snohomish County and beyond. And so without further ado, I think one of the quotes that I highlighted to the group before you all joined us was, "Women are the architects of society." And with that type of messaging, I want to first and foremost let you all know who is on our pecking order of presentations. So Nancy will lead off, and then we will be followed up by Susan, and then Mars, and then last but not least, Jessica. So with that being said, Nancy, please take it away.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Gary. I really appreciate it. And everybody, welcome. Thank you for being here. I am excited to share. My name is Nancy. I'm the manager of the Snohomish Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce has been in existence in Snohomish since about 1959, so it's a long-standing organization. Currently, we have over 220 member businesses, many of those owned and led by women. Our chamber is vibrant and active, and it's exciting for me to be a part of a group that has women from all different walks of life, from all different backgrounds, and running and managing all different kinds of business, both service, financial, retail, the whole gamut. And it's an exciting time, I think, for women to be in business, because although there are unique challenges to women, the partnerships and the service to each other and to the community is incredible. I think women naturally tend to be relationship focused, and so that just comes out in the way that they do business, leading with service to each other. Additionally, I'm a board member of Snohomish Networking Women, a women's networking group started by Sandra Vandal over 30 years ago. And that group currently also has a large number of women members that are business owners, business development directors in all different fields. And that group is especially dear to me because not only do we encourage and mentor each other in business, but additionally, we give back to the community in ways that make me very proud to be a part of that group. We, at each of our meetings, do different fundraising activities. And at the end of the year, we give back to the community in two different ways. We give to different nonprofits in Snohomish, and recipients of those have been the Senior Center, the Boys and Girls Club, the Farmers Market Kids Pop program, amongst others. Additionally, we also give two $1,500 scholarships to girls graduating from AIM High School, the alternative high school in Snohomish. And that's definitely a real joy to both the founder of our group and the whole group, just to be able to help get young women started in their education or training to help them in their future. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy. As a resident of Snohomish, I am really pleased with the amazing vibrancy that you've provided through the Chamber of Commerce, the businesses, and the welcoming feeling that I get specifically downtown, because I love downtown. Thank you very much. Now we have Susan Perreault, who is going to provide an update as well. Susan, take it away.
Yes. Thank you very much, Gary. I'm going to screen share, so let me get myself situated here. And there we go. So yes, thank you so much for inviting me to join this wonderful panel. And this is an important discussion. So first of all, I'd just like to introduce myself. So as I mentioned before, I'm Vice President of Programs at Business Impact Northwest. And I'm responsible for a team of business coaches, trainers, and program directors. I joined Business Impact Northwest in June of 2017, and I've served as the Washington Women's Business Center director and as a business coach and trainer. And prior to joining Business Impact Northwest, I earned a doctorate as well as my MBA. And so in my role, it's really an honor to support the startup and growth of small businesses, providing the connections, resources, and training necessary for successfully starting and running a business. So Business Impact Northwest is a nonprofit CDFI, which is a community development financial institution. And last year we celebrated our 25th anniversary. And so we offer coaching classes and access to capital, and we focus on working with underserved entrepreneurs. And so we help businesses launch, grow, and then we are a flexible and compassionate nonprofit mission lender. So we can provide startup growth and lines of credit. And we have 6 programs that we operate over a 4-state footprint. So we have the Veterans Business Outreach Center, which works with the military community, both current and former, as well as military spouses. And so they work in the 4-state area. We have the Oregon Minority Business Development Agency, working with minority-owned businesses to help them scale their businesses. We have the Food Business Resource Center. Think of everything from farm to table, packaged products, restaurants, etc., working with entrepreneurs in that space. And we have the Loan Readiness Center, which works with any business, no matter what lender they're going through, to help them get loan ready. But today I really want to focus on the Washington Women's Business Center and the Alaska Women's Business Center. So we are SBA resource partners, and those 2 programs are partially funded by the Small Business Administration. And so we offer a wide range of no-cost, low-cost training, as well as free one-on-one business coaching. And so there are over 150 women's business centers across the United States. And they were founded through the HR 5050 Women's Business Ownership Act of 1988. The reason I want to point that out is because I think it's wonderful that we're celebrating 35 years. But also, this was the same bill that eliminated individual remaining state laws requiring that women have a male relative or husband co-sign a business loan. So it's only been 35 years since women have been able to take out a business loan in their own name without a male co-signer. So, and I think it's really important. And so every year, the Office of Women's Business Ownership celebrates Women's Business Summit. It's a virtual summit. It's today and tomorrow. There's still opportunity to attend the free virtual event. So as I mentioned, we're SBA resource partner. And so that means that there's a wonderful network that you can tap into. And so not only Women's Business Center, we have in the Veterans Business Outreach Center, we have the Greater Seattle SCORE, the Washington Small Business Development Centers, as well as PTAC, Washington Procurement Technical Assistance Center, if you're interested in government contracting. And the SBA has many other resources available. I just want to point out that there is a federal contracting program, Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contract Program. And the goal is that 5% of all federal contracts, 5% of the dollars will go to women-owned businesses every year. SBA also has the Accent free learning platform for women entrepreneurs. And then if you're interested in contracting, we do have some webinars that are available on demand and helping you break into that area. And we also provide some assistance with working with other organizations on getting certified as a woman-owned business. I do want to just mention a couple of our annual events. We have Celebrating Dreams, which is our annual event for the Women's Business Center. It's a celebration of women-owned businesses where they're showcased, and it's a wonderful event. And so tickets will be available shortly. All proceeds go to supporting the work that we do, and that will be May 25th at Metropolis. We also have 2 webinars coming up, all as part of the Celebrating Dreams series. And we also, Business Impact Northwest is having their 8th annual impact pitch. So we have up to $30,000 in grant awards or for this for the impact pitch, and the live presentations are October 5th, and there are 3 stages. So, and applications will be opening soon. And so basically, if you think of nothing else, if you remember nothing else of Business Impact Northwest, coaching classes, access to capital, and we're just really happy to be in this community and to help empower all businesses, especially women-owned businesses. Okay. Thank you, Gary.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I believe this is some amazing information, but I believe also our partner here at Economic Alliance Snohomish County, SBDC lead, Giselle Segui, put in the chat another event that is happening actually right now, which is Women's Business Summit. From the 20th to the 29th. So, and then there's a question in the chat. We can get to it now really quickly. Do you have legal help too in that space?
Do we have, as far as legal help is concerned, we do have connections to legal assistance. We do not do legal assistance ourselves on staff, but we do have some resources that we can recommend. And I'd be happy to go ahead and if so, I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Susan. And now we have Mars Powers coming to us with AVODAH Business Collective. Mars, take it away.
Yes, hello everyone. Mars here with AVODAH Business Collective. We are a full service marketing agency. AVODAH is Hebrew for work, worship, and service. And that name really just embodies our commitment to a business that's rooted in worship, which is our family and our children. So the next generation, centered on service, which is our service to other businesses and women, and then dedicated to hard work. You know, I am very passionate about empowering women and supporting local businesses, which is where many of you know me from with my efforts with the hyperlocal market of Everett, supporting the Everett area with think tank and startups and small businesses. And so we spend a lot of years helping entrepreneurs from all walks of life achieve their dreams. And so we believe that building a successful business shouldn't feel like a root canal. So we're to help make things a little easier and, you know, maybe even a little bit more fun. We specialize, like I said, in marketing, branding, strategy, and business and leadership coaching. And we provide comprehensive services to help businesses in today's competitive marketplace. We are a collective, which is just another word for community. And so we understand that you can't buy community, which again has been my efforts to building hyperlocal and markets, and again, supporting the small businesses. We try to facilitate as many connections and place a strong emphasis on getting to know the people and the businesses within the community and their families. And so we use a variety of expertise and professionals to really just achieve a greater outcome than any one entity could achieve in isolation. Again, our creation of legacy is really our focus and heart of AVODAH, as opposed to solely driving financial outcomes. And so we aim to continuously connect people with businesses, building strong and productive relationships that benefit everyone, especially the next generation, hence the focus on the creation of legacy. In bringing up our children. We invest in the next generation as much as we can, however we can, whenever we can. And so our heart is always, again, just connecting people and developing meaningful relationships.
All right. Thank you so much, Mars. AVODAH Business Collective. I know there's more to come there, and so excited to hear more from you. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't overlook anything in the chat. Okay. All right. Now we have, last but not least, Jessica Chavez. All right, Jessica, unmute and dive in.
Okay. I literally have kids walking out the door, so I was trying to hang on to that mute button as long as I could. Hey everyone, I am Jessica Chavez. I'm the founder of Business Ladies of Society. We are building thriving communities led by empowered professional women. Really quick about how we got started. About a year and a half ago, when people were starting to kind of come out of COVID, be okay with meeting in person. I'm an interior decorator, and I went on my local mom's Facebook page and said, hey, we're all in this together. Does anyone want to get together and support one another? I'm a woman, business owner, I'm a mom. And I had about 12 ladies in my backyard. Was never planning to do it again. It was so successful that they begged me for a second one. And I said, I'm never going to do this again. And here I am today. So really quick, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, where is that one? Can someone just give me a little voice if they can see the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so I gave this presentation recently and it was developed for about 8 minutes, so I will try to go fast. So women entrepreneurs, statistics, BLOS, and the future. So statistics, I'm not really a numbers person, but I know that a lot of people are, and that's what, gets them understanding how things work. So women right now make up 13 million, about 42% of business owners in the US. In 2020, that number was actually higher than men. So I think that's awesome. Developing, registering as official business owners. As far as small businesses, it's only about 22%. So I do need to do a little further research about what makes that quite that difference, because between 22 and 42, that's a big difference. Let's see, female to male entrepreneurial comparison, 252 million to 582. So that comes out to be about 43%. I had 2 different magazines giving me information on that. We first started running businesses in 1972, and again today that's about 13 million. And I think I'm cut off here, but one of our leading groups of women, Black women, are actually on the rise. They make about 17% of the women starting business. So I think that's great steps in the right direction for exclusivity for the BIPOC community. Okay, pushing progress, steps in the right direction. The Women Entrepreneurs Finance Initiative has already allocated $49.3 million to women-led businesses. This program was started, put together by 14 countries, all coming in with the commitment that 354 million to date. So there are programs out there. It's just about finding out the knowledge. And I really appreciate Susan's presentation, because I don't think we're aware of what really is out there. I think it's just like when we go to get money for college. It's there, we just don't know where to find it. So again, the Black women's community is really taking the lead in starting businesses and getting out there and building the confidence of women. And because of women creating jobs, we're able to also provide other jobs, which is a great snowball effect. Women entrepreneur setbacks. Here is the list, you guys, and I'm sure there's even stuff that I have forgotten. We need support, we need funding, we need other people to build us up, because we have imposter syndrome. It's just part of our DNA and makeup. So why BLOS, Business Ladies of Society? We go by BLOS. We are all about the heart. The numbers don't mean a thing unless there is a human, a heart behind it. As much as I know that women are absolutely capable of doing every job that a man can do, we are built differently, and our needs come from more of an emotional, cognitive state. And so when women are supporting other women, there's just a difference. And I kind of liken it to, as a woman, when you get all dressed up and you're getting ready for the night and you ask your husband, you know, how do I look? And he says, you look great. It doesn't mean quite as much as if when you go out and there's a woman that stops you and says, oh my gosh, you are beautiful. It just triggers a different emotion. And that's what we're all about, is women linking arms with other women. Because women are already tied to so many responsibilities, just as wives, moms, just us in general as humans. Our group tries to be flexible and really remember that it's a human behind our members. And then lastly, what is the value in what we do? We are holding monthly events for networking. We are supporting one another through social media. We are all about community and collaboration over competition. We don't have just one chair per industry. We want everyone to come to our table. We have a women's conference coming up in June. It's going to be huge. We have a women's retreat. We have speaking opportunities, vendor opportunities. The list goes on, and we are a great community, and we welcome you to be a part of us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. That is awesome. I love the outline of the stats as well on women-owned businesses. Now we have an opportunity to kind of open this conversation up for some Q&A. Please, those of you who are joining us on the actual Zoom, if you would just do us a favor, if you don't have a specific question right now, I'd ask that each of you put in your favorite women's quote in the chat. So if you can think of your favorite women's quote ever, put it in the chat. Want to share it. Those of us who may not have heard it will take that and move it on and share it out. So please share that now. And I'm going to dive in with our first question to our panelists. First and foremost, I'm going to throw this to Nancy. Nancy, what are some of the biggest challenges that women face in business today, and how can they overcome them?
You know, I think that women have some unique challenges, definitely, especially maybe women my age and maybe older, juggling school with their kids, or, you know, that work-life balance, and also younger moms as well. But what I have just been so impressed, I'm very well acquainted with Jessica and BLOS, just such a huge supporter of that organization. And in our own chamber and my networking, Snohomish Networking Women, and also in BLOS, seeing these younger women become these powerful business owners and leaders in the community while juggling families and maybe another, like a full-time job, and then doing a part-time or a startup business as well. So I think that Jessica really hit the nail on the head, that sometimes the biggest challenges can be finding that support network, those other business owners that understand the life of the female entrepreneur and what that means and what that looks like. And we too are just all about collaboration over competition. There's room at the table for everybody. There's enough business, there's enough opportunity for everybody. And so I think helping women find those like-minded people and helps them kind of overcome those challenges.
And anyone else want to dive in? I think you hit that right on the head. Any additional comments?
Yes, Gary. When I think about the challenges for women-owned businesses, there are many of them. Access to capital is really one of the largest, one of the biggest challenges. The loan denial rate is twice that of male business owners. And for first-year funding, women-owned businesses receive about 80% less capital than male-owned businesses. And another area that is an issue is that women owned businesses generally only have one employee. They're usually operated in low growth industries. And that has more of a systemic issue as to the types of businesses that women tend to be in service businesses. And so I think that enabling access to capital and just all the resources available to help women grow the business to the level that they wanted to grow to is really part of the challenge of why the women's business centers were even created, is to help level that playing field.
All right, thank you, Susan. Jessica?
I just think that starting our girls young, I think starting a business, there is that financial need, like 100%, but I'm going to take it from a different point, since I said I'm not a numbers girl, which is super important, but girls need to be taught confidence. We need to be taught that we can use our voice. We can say no when we need to. We can say yes when we need to. Part of the reason I think there is a need for women's groups, and this is no bash on men because I love you guys, but I know in the past, when I've gone to networking things, sometimes, depending on what job it was at the time, I kind of walked in, and this is something that was in my own head. Nobody treated me this way. And it was men and women, but you walk in and you say, this is what I do. And you feel like that they might be like, that's a fun hobby. Like, it's not taken seriously. It's not an actual business. And I mean, you know, there's MLMs, and I know that that can be a controversial subject, but I feel for those women because they're not taken seriously and they're just trying to do what they can for their family. And so we need to just celebrate all women for their efforts and start them young.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Mars.
I just want to piggyback on the work-life balance, right? Motherhood and pregnancy in the workplace, finding that right work-life balance that allows them to achieve professional goals while also taking care of their families. Childcare is far more expensive than ever, with costs that are similar to college tuition, to be honest. I mean, I have 4 kids and I homeschooled and, stayed at home with them for 5 years for that very, reason. It makes more financial sense right now for a lot of women to leave the workforce or to work part-time hours. But if that's for single moms, I mean, that is a detriment to them, right? And so I think a solution really in the workplace, and you see a lot more leaders going more employee centric anyways, but just family leave and, childcare policies that provide more accommodating work environments for working parents in general and moms, even with just maternity leave, more than 50% of our members at Think Tank were female and a handful of them were pregnant. 12 weeks is not a long time to spend at home with the baby because you are still also just thinking about, weeks in advance, childcare for the baby, and then trying to now re-enter society into the workplace again. It's a very hard thing to do, right? And then the only other thing that I was going to say is just really the pay gap. We really haven't seen much change in the last 2 decades. So pay transparency. I've seen more and more research come out that supports it. And it says that it can narrow the gap up to 30% by just being transparent with pay.
Nancy, were you going to jump back in?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on something that Jessica mentioned about, talking to your daughters. And I want to just give a shout out to the Snohomish County Boys and Girls Club and the work that they're doing with the Inspire Her program. They, during COVID, transitioned to every other week Zoom classes that just women in all different types of fields, businesses, occupations, just sharing very candidly, just that's not the right word, just casually with groups all over, clubs all over via Zoom about what they do, just exposing girls and boys too participated in just to learn about different occupations that are available that maybe, you know, girls didn't even know existed or didn't understand that they could exist for them as well. And so it's an incredible program. And I would just encourage any of you that might be interested in sharing what you do through that program, please reach out to me, manager@snohomishchamber.org. I would love to connect you with Marcy Vollmer, who's the Chief Operating Officer of the Boys and Girls Club of Snohomish County.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to a few more questions here, and thank you, Nancy, and others. I'd like Mars, if you could share a personal experience with a mentor who had a significant impact on you or inspired you as a woman in business.
Yeah, so working moms. I'm a mom of 4, my oldest being 16 and my youngest being 5. But I just love, you know, female representation in historically male-dominated industries. I come from a family of 6 siblings. I've, you know, there's 7 of us total, but 6 girls, 1 boy. 2 of my sisters hold corporate positions in the construction industry, which again has been historically a male-dominated industry. Furthermore, we are a law enforcement and military family, and so one of the people that I have really, you know, looked up to and have been really inspired by is Wendy Wade. She was the former commander of the Marysville Police Department. She served for 32 years, which is almost my whole life. I'm late 30s, but you know, who's counting? But she was, you know, the first commander, female commander of the Marysville Police Department, the only one to hold the ranks of a sergeant, lieutenant, and commander. Back in the day, she went to the academy, there were 6 females, you guys, right? And she was the only one representing Marysville. Furthermore, she was the first one to have kids in the department. And she started out as a teacher, right? You know, oh, I don't know if I want to be a teacher. Let me go ahead and try something else. Saw posting for Marysville PD and absolutely fell in love with it. No skill sets for, you know, how to hold a gun, how to handle a gun, no tactical skills or anything like that. And her, you know, her service to the department has been massive. And now you see what 20% of the department are now, you know, female representation. That's huge. That's huge, right? This last year, you know, I've been the new kid on the block in Everett, but we have, you know, Mayor Cassie Franklin, again, female representation. I mean, even you guys for BASC, I mean, more than half of your team are females between, you know, Wendy, Rashma, Rachel, Robin, you know, Alyssa, Kara, and, you know, Savannah, right? And I believe 30% of your guys' board of trustees are female. So you see the trajectory moving and the support being there for women business owners, you know, I mean, even being an ambassador for BLOS, I mean, that was announced in December, and they're getting national coverage now, right? It's not even just being hyper local anymore. And, you know, we have some of the best chambers in the area of Snohomish County, again, with female representation. You have Yvonne with the Greater Marysville Tulalip, who just got best you know, Chamber of Commerce for Snohomish County. We got best co-working space for a think tank in less than 7 months with the female representation. I mean, that's huge. And so those are the kind of things that just like build me up, you know, and then just learning about businesses like that too, with women that, you know, also homeschool and have brought their kids alongside with them. You know, Fawn Clark with Welcome Magazine, you know, brought her littles alongside. And even on the military side of things, we just met with the CAR, which is the commander of the Army Reserves, female representation right there. So those are the women that I really look up to, that I love supporting and that I rally behind. And I think it's a really wonderful time, again, to be a part of the Snohomish County with the growing evolution and catalyst for women in business.
Well, thank you, Mars. That's really helpful. And I think it's really cool to see the connection between those pathways for all women. And I appreciate you sharing that. Jessica, any answers to this question? Just a personal experience or a connection to a mentor or inspiration?
Well, it's always hard to follow Mars because she's just amazing. So, I mean, I could give her kudos. Like the women that I'm sitting here with, it's amazing. I love that BLOS is growing, that when we walk into community things, like I'm knowing women, I'm like, I've seen you here. I've seen you here. It's just like, I just love seeing the consistency of women showing up in different areas. And it just inspires me. A personal mentor to me was, so speaking of MLMs, I did do one. It was jewelry. It went under the top seller in the group. Once the company went bankrupt, she went off and started her own jewelry business. And she lives in Illinois, and she contacted me just from a few interactions. I don't know what I did to impress her, but a few interactions. She called me up one day and says, I'm starting this business and I want you to be my Northwest rep. And she took me under her wing and we collaborated while she was in Illinois and I was in here in Washington. And she didn't give up on me. It ended up not being the right fit for me. And, down the road, this is why. But just, you can be led by people that aren't even, you can be led by people in your community, but you can be led by people that are across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna change up here to get to some of these questions we have. Giselle asked, Susan, and I'm gonna throw this to you. What is the best advice you will give to a woman who is starting or who are in business? So best advice.
Well, I start with, you determine what success means to you for your business. So don't measure yourself against someone else's measure of success. If your business is meeting your needs and for very often for women, it's also the needs of their family. That is the most important thing. So if you're not aware right now, about 1 in 4 working entrepreneur mothers are the sole provider of their household income. So very often when women start businesses, some people think it's a side business. No, for about 25% of all women entrepreneurs, they're the sole provider for their family. So it's really important to understand how entrepreneurship fits into your life and what it means to you, and then seek assistance. There's so much assistance out there, and build your own network of people who support you. There are going to be naysayers in your life. Surround yourself with people who can help you reach your goals.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. I'm going to move on again. And Nancy, I'm going to throw this question to you. When we talk about resources, what resources are available in Snohomish County, or in Snohomish specifically, to help women entrepreneurs access funding and other resources? And I might throw this as a quick question to the rest of you too. Go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, so I would say join your chamber, join your local chamber, we'd love to have anybody visit the Snohomish Chamber, but join a business organization like a chamber. Our goal, our daily mission is to support business, to women and men, to support business, to help create a vibrant and strong community where people want to live, where people want to shop, where people want to visit, and where people want to work. So that's a great start. And chambers are naturally a network of all different types of services and businesses and resources for people in business. So I would say definitely there. I would also encourage, if you have questions about funding, of course, Susan is an incredible resource. So reaching out to her, but also talk to a trusted business banker. And if you need connections in that, I'm happy to share those with you as well. But reach out to people that you trust and build those relationships, and then they can help lead you to the financial resources. I think, as Jessica mentioned, there's so many women that want to help and support other women. I think just being transparent, being vulnerable, being willing to share and network can go a long way.
Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, that's a great answer. And because you gave such a great answer, I'm going to move on from that.
Sorry.
I know we have some specific questions about business. I would ask that each of you please put your contact info in the chat for those who want to engage you. But I do want to ask a more poignant question that I know we've kind of been vanilla here, but in thinking of you engaging in business or being a leader in an organization or having to navigate, which is a male-dominated space, as Mars mentioned, what is some advice you give to women who are dealing with very difficult situations where they find themselves trapped in a particular space, a glass ceiling, or any space in that ilk where they're battling a male-dominated space? Can you all speak to that as far as business? And Mars, I'll jump to you first.
Again, it really just goes back to being able to, network and find the right mentors and kind of have that tribe behind you to go to, whether that's wise counsel. Again, trusted advisors. I really try to surround myself with people that I know and trust. I'll go straight to the sources. And those are people that I take business advice from too, right? Take it with a grain of salt, but it is so important to be able to find not just networking groups, but, micro groups within them where you guys can bounce ideas off, more like masterminds. And then also just mentorships. I think having a business coach of some sort is a huge benefit. And since we live in a digital world, there are a million resources out there. There's another, female-owned business called Upnotch, which again is mentors helping mentors. And there's so many resources, even through the EASC website, through you guys, through the chamber, through Business Impact Northwest. But being able to continuously see those people outside of, the work environment at these events and stuff, building those relationships, building that trust, and then being able to bounce those off one another, I think is really important and really huge for women, especially with that hybrid environment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mars. Jessica, would you like to chime in on that?
Yeah, I want to add that as a woman, you kind of have to get out of your own way, but two, don't constantly be thinking about being on the receiving end, be on the giving end. If you see someone that you think might be struggling or, whatever, build them up. Like, you don't have to wait for them to ask for your advice. Just clapping for them, introducing them to someone, liking their stuff on social media, that is like enough to just build that confidence. And there was something else that Mars said that I cannot remember, but yeah, I guess that's just I'll leave it at that.
All right, Susan.
Going back to your question, I think if you're having difficulties in a system, part of it is identifying what are the barriers, what are the roadblocks. And then how are these things that you can change by yourself? Is this something you can, are there other people who can assist you? And really recognizing what are the things I can change? What are the things that I can't? And if I can't change it, how can I approach it to get over that hurdle? Because the hurdle's not going to go away, perhaps. And so I think part of it is how you approach it. And that's where bringing in the network of people that you have that you can discuss, this is what's happening and this is where I need to be and how do I get there? And maybe you have to change your business model a little bit. Let's go around that barrier, but we're still going to get to where we want to go. And I think that's one approach that I would recommend.
Thank you.
Can I jump back in? I remember what I was going to say.
Sure.
In relation to not just being on the receiving end, being the person that gives, when I was posting pictures of my house on social media and people were asking me, oh, I want your help. I want your help. It could have been my husband that said, you should start a business. And that would have been like, go over my head. But it actually took someone that's an acquaintance of mine to reach out and say, you're really good at this. You should be charging people. And so that's what I mean by being on the giving side. When you see someone that's good at something, please let them know, because you don't know what it might do. Like, coming from someone that maybe you're just an acquaintance with, it's just the right person encouraging you, and that gives you the confidence to move forward.
Awesome. And Nancy, I want to give you the last word on this one.
I would just like to echo that, show up for each other, show up for yourself, but show up for each other too. I think when strong women model that behavior, it just encourages and empowers other women.
Awesome. Awesome. I have one question in the chat, and then I just have one comment to you all, and then I'm going to ask that each of you kind of give some closing remarks to our audience here on Zoom and on Facebook Live. Giselle asks, well, not Giselle, let's scroll down a little bit. There must have been another one. Okay, so there is a question on further conversation, and I see there's a mentor link there, and then a comment about entrepreneurial skills training is one of the 14 elements of WIOA Youth. There's a question about including young women and their resources out there to support these young adults in building their entrepreneurial skills. So I'm going to throw that to Susan, and then I have another question after that.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple of things here. So you want to just go back to what you were actually throwing to me? No.
Yes, absolutely. So are there options for young women tied to youth entrepreneurial skills and mentorship resources?
Okay. Well, there is no age requirement for receiving coaching services. So if there's a female, if there's a teen out there or a young woman who is interested in entrepreneurship, our one-on-one business coaching is available to them. Our classes are available. Most of them are free of charge. So our doors are open to women or of all ages, or to people of all ages.
All right. And so comment for each of you. So as far as the narrative that is taken out there for women in business or in leadership perspective, and I think Jessica highlighted some of the stats there, and thank you, Susan, for that. I think it dawns on me that if we look at the overall history of humanity, we find tons of women who have led in kingdoms and corporations and companies and all over the spectrum. And so to make sure that we are pushing that knowledge base forward for the young women entrepreneurs that are here, to know that if they have that imposter syndrome feeling, that they've always been there, that they've always been leaders. And so in that space, I ask you as a man to share with me how we as men who are in leadership, how we can support, navigate, and even check ourselves in these spaces. So I'm going to throw that to Mars, and then Jessica, Nancy, and then Susan.
I would say it goes back to advocacy. I am so humbled and grateful for a husband that has served in 5 tours overseas for the military, and he will come home every single time, be in the public facing eye, and people will always be like, thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for the work that you do. And you know what he always says time and time again? He always says, you know what the hardest job is? Being a stay-at-home mom. Every single time. And my jaw just drops to the ground, because the things that he sees and does, even as a police officer for, one of the busiest departments in the state, is just beyond me. But I think there's also still another level of mentorship that men can provide for women. And then, again, it goes back to networking and investing in women for more of those, enterprise corporate positions as well. And then just, educating men and, training them on really just the psychology of women. We do think a little bit differently. We act a little bit differently. Our mannerisms are different, just the core of our being, and being able to be in a room, even as like spouses and couples, be like, oh my gosh, I thought it was only me, kind of thing, to just continuously educate them and stuff. But I think as, men are supporting women again and advocating for them in positions that are historically male dominated, is really a big step in the right direction, and having respect for, like I said, people like Wendy Wade, who was a commander, you know, and being able to take authority from a female figure is massive. So.
All right.
I just think, like with anything, you know, change starts at home. So if you're a dad, if you're a husband, just encouraging your wives and your daughters to be confident, to get involved in things where leadership, being on a team is important. And when your wife has a kooky idea, like, don't make her feel like it's kooky, like really ask, engage, and you know, even if deep down in your mind you know that it's not going to go anywhere, just fake it till you make it if you have to, because we just need to hear, you can do this, honey. You know, we don't need you to like ask all the questions. My husband asks me a lot of questions about my business plan and you know, and really gives me the hard questions, and that's fair. But at the same time, it would just be nice for him just to listen and just say, you've got this, babe.
Okay, Gary, as far as men playing a supporting role in advocating for women in business, they can do it in many different ways. They can do it by actually supporting financially, you know, spending money with women-owned businesses. That is a way to support a woman-owned business or support women in entrepreneurship. I think for women business owners, they need to really set the stage for expectations of what support looks like. And especially whether it's a relationship with a male partner in your personal life or in your business, setting the expectations of what you need and asking for what you need. I think if you find your voice to do that, that is a way that we can guide men who need to learn how to better support women or advocate for women. We can guide them in this role, because if we can get them doing this for us, then we're building a better just community overall.
Thank you. And Nancy?
Oh, I just want to add, men, there are so many incredible men supporting women in business. And I would just say those men advocate and be role models, you know, of that behavior, and welcome women into non-traditional roles, whether that's, as somebody mentioned in the chat, sports, arts, business. Just be welcoming. Women have so much to offer.
All right, folks, thank you for that answer. And now I'd like to give you just a quick 30 seconds to just give some closing remarks. We're going to start where we finished with Nancy. We'll go to Mars, Jessica, and then Susan. So
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you for everybody for sharing and for the questions and the quotes in the chat. I've just been so inspired. I continue to be inspired by our community and just the incredible work that EASC is doing, and bringing these types of conversations to the forefront. I thank you. I thank you for that opportunity. Please feel free to reach out to me, manager@snohomishchamber.org. I would love to meet for coffee. Love to have you come to a chamber meeting. Thank you. Have a great day.
Likewise, I just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much to the team over at EASC for having us here and giving us the opportunity and the platform to speak on behalf of women businesses, women owners, and women leaders in our community. This is a good time to be a woman. I've had so much support in this short amount of year that I've been here supporting Everett and being in this realm of, you know, entering back into the workforce, of being a stay-at-home and homeschool mom. And this is just such a really wonderful community. You know, Snohomish County is up and coming, and I'm just seeing more and more people rally together to link arms, to sharpen each other's iron, and it's a wonderful thing to see and to witness and to have my kids grow up in. A lot of these business owners and a lot of women, especially from the BLOS network, have become an extended family to my family, where they know my kids by name, and that is really wonderful. And that is what truly, again, builds a community that is thriving and is, all about economic development. So thank you guys again for having me here.
Just want to say thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure. This is my first panel, so thank you for giving me that opportunity. I'm going to leave with an ask. So our group has been going on for about a year and a half, but it actually launched as a business in December. And so we're constantly growing. We're trying, we're taking feedback and trying to improve ourselves. And a recent concern was the lack of diversity in our group. So I just want to welcome anyone who is here that, may look at us and be like, oh, it's just a bunch of white women. That's not the truth. We are welcome to everyone. It's just about getting you guys there. So that I can, celebrate you and honor you and show you to the world that we accept everyone and we're just cheering everyone on. So that's my ask. And thank you.
Okay, and
Thank you, Susan.
yes, first of all, I want to thank the Economic Alliance for this invitation. It's wonderful to be with this wonderful group of women. And Gary, thank you for being our host today. I just would like you to think about taking advantage of all the resources out there. And if you want to connect with our organization, if we're not the right door for you, our goal is come through the door. We want to connect you to the resource that's appropriate for you. And so think of us as that resource. I also want to do a shout out where a couple of the small business development centers are represented. So thanks to Giselle, she's been very active in the chat. And then I also want to recognize Jennifer Shelton. She is one of the business advisors for the SBDC at Shoreline Community College. So as I mentioned, we are part of the SBA Resource Network. So please take advantage of all the resources available to you.
All right, and with that, I want to thank everyone for joining. Jessica, Mars, Nancy, and Susan, amazing conversation and input and insight. Again, women are the architect of society, and so we need to make sure that we are moving in the right direction in all spaces, particularly when we talk about business in Snohomish County. And so I want to thank you all for your efforts here. William's going to throw on a quick update piece, I believe, and then we're going to get our coffee cups ready for our coffee cup salute. So on April 11th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Future of Flight in Payne Field, we will have the Snohomish County update by Executive Dave Summers, Snohomish County, presented by the Boeing Company. If you haven't registered, please register today. And with that being said, we may have one other update, and that is our economic forecast and annual meeting. We're actually going to have Zachary Mannheimer, who's going to talk about 3D print housing, as well as Jeff Hill, who is a PhD, and he will give an update on some unique ways to retain and resource what I'll say are our natural resources, so to speak. So in that space, it's going to be on April 26th, and we hope to have you register for our economic forecast and annual meeting. Folks, we're going to go to our gallery, those of you who are still with us, and please put your cameras on, grab your coffee cups if you have them, put yourself on the gallery screen if you haven't done so already. This has been another Economic Alliance Snohomish County Coffee Chats update. We thank our panelists, Susan, Jessica, Mars, and Nancy for joining us. Everyone, please, 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 please have an amazing Tuesday. Take care.